Welcome to the New Author Podcast, a weekly podcast diary starring Jerry Evanoff and Rich Kacy. Join them weekly as they talk about writing, publishing, and marketing their books. And now, here are your hosts.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the New Author Podcast. Today's Wednesday, February 25th, 2026. It is episode number 345. I am one of the hosts of this podcast, Jerry Evanoff, regardless of what you see down there. And with me, as he is each week, is Rich Kacy. Rich, how are you?
Well, but I got a big question for you, Stephen.
Sure.
I was wondering, when you were writing it, was the inspiration for the clown because you were traumatized at the circus when you were young, or what?
As a Cleveland Browns fan, as a child, they were routinely called the Cleveland Clowns.
Oh,
so that is
really?
where I got my inspiration. No, as I said to you before we started, when I logged into Riverside, it said name. It didn't say your name. It said name. So I typed the name, and that's what came.
I don't even know if people watch us on YouTube, can they see those names, or is that just?
I believe
us?
so. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. I think. So yeah. So how's your week?
Not so bad. It went by fast, as I mentioned before we started recording. Mainly because I had the weekend off, so I was able to work outside a lot. Weather was absolutely beautiful here. Highs in the low 70s, and lows were on the weekend. We're only getting down to around 45, 50 at the lowest. Then we had a little cold snap earlier this week, but I think we're done. We're done with it now.
We have warm days. The next tomorrow's gonna be in like mid-30s or whatever. Maybe in the 40s actually. But then we get into some warmth on Friday, Saturday, Sunday. But then Sunday night, it's like it's almost every weekend this year. Sunday night snow, but it's gonna not be like it has been in the past. And we didn't get hit like the East Coast did. This back we got some snow, and it'll be snowy. I think Monday, and then maybe even Sunday night, maybe even Monday night. But it won't be during the day. Just that couple hours in the middle of the night.
Right.
And then after that, you look at our weather going forward, it's like 40 and above, like every day. So
oh, really? Wow.
Yeah.
Well, that's unusual for up there because that part of the country usually just seesaws back and forth right through March. But
yeah, it's a well needed break because it's just, again, I know we didn't get what they got out. I guess Providence, Rhode Island got like 37 inches of snow. And that's not an exaggeration. I think it was 37 inches of snow on what day was that? Sunday, I think it was. They had the big blizzard out there. So yeah.
Did I mention that my son and daughter-in-law went snowshoeing last time?
Yeah, I think you did. Yeah.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
All right. So I told that story.
What's that like for a couple of? Well, I guess your son isn't a California boy, but what's that like for a couple people who've spent a lot of time in California lately?
They loved it. They absolutely loved it. Yep. In fact, they loved it they went on a ranger-led day walk, and then they went back that night and did a night walk too. So.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Okay. With tennis rackets, is that the kind of thing?
Essentially, yeah. That's basically what it is.
I just don't like snow. I don't think I could do it. I mean, people are like, I can go out and I can do sledding. And when I was a kid, we had a top of our street, 3 or 4 houses up. It went up a hill. We were at the very bottom and it just went up a hill. And there was a little tiny road that went back in the back, and we would walk up there. And it was called Hillbilly Hill, or sometimes it's called Hunky Hill. And we would sled ride down it, and it was great. And you could come back up. But then I turned about 16, and was like, we got done with this snow.
When I was in college, the first big snow of the year was always when all the cafeteria trays disappeared out of the cafeteria because people were grabbing them, running out the door to sled.
That's funny. That is fun. Okay. All right, so let's get started here. We're not in a new month, so no big long paragraph about that. So let me go to my stats for last week. I actually have some stats. My word count for the year. The last 4 days, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, I've actually written new words every single day. And I'm up 3,274 new words for the year, not edited, just new words for the year, bringing my total so far to 5,039. If you missed the goals, the goal for this year is 45,000 words, and it's much lower than the 140,000 or 145,000 from last year, the 250,000 I wanted to do the year before that, because I'm not writing those first drafts anymore. But I do want to write. I do want to keep writing. I want to write something. I don't care if it's this. I don't care if it's something new. I have an idea for some short stories that we can talk about later. But I definitely want to not just go through the whole year just being an editor. I want to do some writing here and there. So I'm very happy to get to this 5,039. My word count for book 2 is actually down again. down another 4,737 words to 68,372. And that includes all these new words I wrote last week. So there's a lot of cutting going on.
Yeah.
I think I cut one chapter. I'll talk about it later, but I think I cut one chapter from like 5,800 down to like 600 words or something ridiculous. We'll talk about that. My words per hour, again, I'm going into these chapters with no outline. I literally have a paragraph from going back and forth with C about how to change some of these things. So that's all I have. So it's taking me a little bit longer to write these words. So I'm down from 1,245 words per hour, which is where I was last, to 1,209 words per hour. But it's still, I'll take 1,200 words an hour all day. And then my goal for last week was to finish draft. I'm calling it draft Y because I'm going to have a draft Y, and then I'm going to do a quick draft Z, and that'll be what I turn into the editor. So I failed, and I knew I would fail. I knew I wouldn't be able to finish in a week, but I'm just making that my goal until I finish draft Y. So I may or may not, probably won't succeed next week either. It'll probably be the week after that when I finally get through this final draft. So, second one.
Let me ask you, if you got to a chapter where you just decided to scrap the whole thing and just do a new chapter, would you count the words? Or would you say that's editing?
If I scrap the whole thing and rewrite it from scratch?
In the book that you've already drafted, if you got to a chapter.
That's new words. To me, that's new words. In fact, I've done that a few times. These ones here are, there's 4 scenes in chapter 17, and I threw out what chapter 17 was, and I'm writing these scenes are small, 600 words, 1,000 words, 300 words, 900 words, whatever it is. And those I'm counting those as new words because they're brand new. Yeah.
Okay. So that's essentially what I did yesterday. I think it was yesterday on a chapter. I got to 2 chapters of editing in the past week, and like I said, mainly because it was so beautiful the weather that I spent the whole weekend, Friday through Sunday, outdoors and never even touched the writing. I actually didn't count the words. I know I stripped about 500 words out of the first draft of the first chapter, and then the second chapter, when I went to look at it, I decided that it was going all wrong. I just didn't like it at all, so I scrapped that and I wrote a new one. And I believe it came out to about 1,500 words, between 1,500 and 1,700. I forget what I finally did with part of the conclusion to that chapter. I think I was stringing it out too long, and I decided to chop a little bit back. So I guess overall, I'll just say off the top of my head, I got about 1,500 new words in the last week. Got through 2 chapters. Think I've got the story set up a little bit better than I did in first draft, and I'm going to go from here.
So it's been a while. Which story is this?
This is the I'm not even sure what I called it because I never gave it a title, but it's a one with. In fact, I'm not even sure I really talked about it. What it's about? It's about an IT specialist who works in the police department in cyber crimes, and
this is new.
And her, she gets not hoodwinked, but she gets recruited into a new unit, and the person that's setting up the new unit is actually a right-wing fascist. And
you have talked about this.
Has recruited her son, and her son.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's the story. And I can't remember how I pitched it as a thriller. That's I guess why I was talking about it. But I never gave it a title. Hopefully, a title never came to me. Usually, that's one of the first things I get as a title.
Right.
Nothing's really come to me for this.
Yeah. All right. Well, going back then to last week for me, the last time we podcasted was a week ago yesterday, so last Tuesday. I was in the office on Wednesday, and on my lunch break, again, just to get you guys up where I'm at, I have 29 chapters that are plotted and need to either be edited or written or rewritten, kind of. That's when I hit 29, I'm done. And then in my revision Z, that's when I'll go through and probably break it up into a few more chapters. Right now, I just get through 29. So on this day last Wednesday, I went on my lunch break. I was in the office. I worked through the changes for chapter 11. And this is another one of those ones where I removed more words than I added. It started at 2,962 words, and by the time I was done, it was 2,434. It's about 530 words, something like that, 528 words. And then I also went back and made some changes to a couple of the chapters earlier based on some things that I did in this one. I got home kind of late, made myself some potato chip casserole, which I absolutely love making, which is literally just chicken broth. Chicken, cream of potato, and cream of celery in a bowl. 2 cans of chicken, the what do you call it, shredded chicken, in that same bowl. Pour a whole bunch of milk in there. Put a whole bunch of pepper on it. and then put a pound of elbow noodles that are cooked in there too. Mix it all up, and then throw it in the oven for about 2 hours, stirring it every now and then. And then at the very end, right before it's about to be done, dump a whole bunch of potato chips on top of it, put it back in the oven for like 10 minutes. So
no cheese?
It's fantastic. No cheese.
No,
Wait,
no cheese.
No, I didn't put any cheese in it.
Oh,
no.
okay.
No. What kind of cheese would you put on it?
It was kind of healthy, I guess. Well, I don't know. You could mix up, if you mixed up I don't know, anything, provolone, sharp cheddar, something in the sauce with it. It would tang it up a little bit, maybe.
I'll have to try that next time. That sounds good.
Yeah.
All right, so that was Wednesday. Thursday, worked from home on this day. I actually slept to my alarm, which is something I rarely do. It always reminds me of how loud my alarm really is when it goes off. And I think I got to change this, and then it's 2 months before I sleep to it again. So the last two, and it's because the last 2 days I got up at 5 a.m. And even those days I didn't sleep to my alarm. I got up at like 4:45 and then 4:50. But today 6:30 woke me up. But whenever I wake up to my alarm, I'm always wide awake. Like I don't do snooze. I just get up.
Yeah, I do snooze a lot, and what's interesting is you talk about you wake up before your alarm. I've started setting my alarm just on vibrate, not having a sound, and I wake up before it even starts vibrating.
Oh jeez, yeah, that's about right.
Yeah.
Thursday I worked from home. I worked from home, and then I had a call with the woman from Ellie from the marketing place. I'm gonna walk into my other room. I'm gonna keep talking. I'm just gonna walk into the other room. I had a call with her. Notes out so I can talk about what we talked about here. I just took random notes. I mean, my handwriting is terrible. It's why I type for a living. But I did use one of my fancy new notebooks.
Oh yeah.
Look at that.
Interestingly enough, I don't think you're on your lapel mic because as you walked away, your voice disappeared.
Really?
So, yeah.
Oh, I didn't change it, Rich. I didn't change it when we first started talking. It's not letting me change it. I'm not stopping this podcast. How do I sound?
Oh, you sound fine. I mean.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's weird.
Yeah.
All right. So that's because, and you can't change it while you're recording.
Yeah, I can kind of see that, but yeah, let it go. You were fine. You sound fine. Now you're not even there.
I hit mute. Sorry about that.
Okay.
So the things that we talked about. What's that?
That's because you're an IT pro.
Yeah, no doubt. The things that we talked about mostly we kind of started out just talking. I updated on where I was, where I was with the editing, the deadline that I had for March 15th, to turn it back to the editor. So I kind of determined that somewhere around April 1st is when I'll probably make this thing live, book 2 live. But I do have to make sure that I have my my novella ready and a couple changes to book 1 that I want to make, and I want to make sure I upload them all at the same time because they're all going to point to each other. Book 1's going to point to the novella is going to point to book 2. I want to make sure all that's ready. So I kind of talked about it with that. We just kind of talked about marketing, and we talked about like what you do with your mailing list. We talked about pre-orders. Like one thing I'm going to do is I'm probably going to do a 7-day pre-order in this book because I want to post to my Facebook author group because a large majority of the people there, they're there because they either know me, they know my sister, their friends, their family, or they bought something from me in the past, and there's links in my books to my Facebook author group. I think I could get a pretty healthy pre-order amount, at least healthy for me. I'm not going to go out there and Lindsay Baroker this thing, but I could get a pretty good healthy pre-order amount just by posting to the author Facebook group first. So I'll do 7 days and then have it go on sale. And we just, it was just a lot of conversation. We were just kind of talking. It was really interesting. She talked about, what do you want? You want a 50% open rate on your mailer. We talked big time about mailing lists and what to do with them. We talked about, she said you want pillars of information for these mailing lists. So each, not pillars, just pillars for your mailing list. So each time you send an email, you want to have 2 or 3, maybe 4 things that you always talk about, whatever it is. Is it your dog? Is it your hobbies? Whatever it is. And your book, your writing style, just those things that are there every single month, because then people grow to, want to read more about that. It's almost like a story that you're telling everyone.
Right. It's like a serial you're developing almost.
Right, absolutely. So I kind of had the idea as she was talking in my head. So I watch a lot, and again, this is going to be one of those things, Rich, that I talk about on this podcast, I think about doing, and then it's a 50-50 whether I actually do it or not, because it's more work. I'm really literally making more work for myself. But the good thing is, it's not it's not going to feel like work except for on that day where I sit down and go, okay, I got to do this.
Right.
But it's something I enjoy doing. It's literally something that I do every night. I'm doing it right now as we speak. I'm doing it. It's right there on my TV. So, what I thought was it would kind of be interesting if I did like before I get to that, I watch a lot of reaction channels. You know, I've talked about this before. I watch a lot of reaction channels on the YouTube, and I find it interesting to watch all these young kids react to the music I liked or the movies I like, things like that. And I thought to myself, well, you know, I'm a young kid to someone who's 25 years older than me. Would it be interesting for and the people that are 25 years older than me, I kind of assume are my reader, not 25, something like that, are my readers, right? I imagine like a 65-year-old woman who's reading not a cozy mystery, but like a soft-boiled mystery, amateur sleuth type mystery. That's kind of what I imagine as my reader. And those people love Perry Mason or know of Perry Mason the same way that I love Perry Mason. Right. So I thought to myself, would it be interesting for me to do like a review starting with episode 1.1 in an email, right? So, and it wouldn't be a long, 17,000 words. It would literally be, if there's three commercial breaks, 4 main segments, maybe there's something before the commercial or after the last commercial that's really short. I could do like a paragraph, and I could do fun stuff. I mean, one of the things that I always do when I watch Perry Mason is spot the Andy Griffith co-star or guest star, because there's almost every episode there's someone who was in an Andy Griffith, and I've seen every Andy Griffith forever. So I like to do that. Sometimes I put it on my Snapchat, and the people have no idea what I'm talking about, except my mom. So I thought back in the day, the thing that got me writing on the internet was I used to do Big Brother, the TV show, recaps from 2001, maybe 2002 until about 2017. I was on a Big Brother message board where I wrote long recaps of the episodes. And I would put the live feeds on. I would just recap them. I would be silly. I would be funny. I got a lot of good reactions out of it. So I thought, what if I did this? What if I made an email where the first couple sentences are, here's where I am in the writing. The next couple sentences are, here's something personal about me. And then it's a longer Perry Mason recap where I start with episode 1.1. There's like 12 seasons. Back then they did 25 episodes a season. There's a lot of content here. I could go forever. And I think that's what I wanted to do. And I was talking to her about it. She thought it was a pretty good idea. She thought it was something that would keep people who might not necessarily buy the book, but like if you have those freebie seekers, this could be something that keeps them on your list.
Right.
She talked about, is the word culling, like trimming your, go ahead.
Does she even know who Perry Mason is?
Yes, she does.
Okay.
She's probably younger than me, but not. She's probably in her 30s.
But she's also in the UK too, right?
Yeah.
So I didn't know if they had made it over there or not. Maybe it did.
That's a great question. She didn't say. I don't know who that is.
Okay. And
she seemed to understand that it was a mystery type thing. So I think she did.
Okay.
Yeah. Next time I talk to her, maybe I'll have to mention that. So, and she's great. I really enjoyed talking to her, but we talked a lot. So the other thing was she talked about was cleaning your newsletter. So we'll get to this more because I want to talk about newsletter stuff later on. I want to talk about Substack. I was going to talk about it during my weekly recap, but I think I'm going to wait until the end and maybe you and I can just have a conversation. We can converse.
Okay.
That's the word. So we talked more about the newsletter stuff. And then I started asking her about Substack, what she likes about it, what she doesn't like about it. And she told me a few things. She told me I should go out and subscribe to a couple of authors' newsletters, not necessarily to steal content or copy, just to see how often they send,
right,
how long are their emails. I actually never did that, which I still have to do. And then we talked about keywords and things like that. She said that, she said, I know you don't like social media, which I don't. She says, maybe you could get away with doing a weekly post on your page. That's it. Nothing major. You don't have to schedule it. Just if something comes to you, just do it. Try to do it about once a week. And that keeps people involved. I'm like, that kind of makes sense. So that was the big thing that I talked about her with. And then we're going to have another call right before the release. So probably at the end of March will be the next time that I actually have a conversation with her. And it'll be leading right up to the release. And we'll talk more about that. And then we'll talk about what to do right after the release.
Okay.
Is it worth the money I spent? Yeah, I think it is, because as long as you have the money to spend. If I didn't have this money, I wouldn't spend it on this.
Right.
But I do have the money to spend, because it's nice to have a conversation with somebody who actually knows what they're doing with marketing, and no offense, I don't know if I'm offending you right now. Who,
me? No.
Yeah, that was a joke. It's nice to have a conversation with somebody who knows what they're talking about.
Yeah. Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah. So it was, and I'll have another one with her. So I have 3 more left, and we'll do the next 3 months. Or depending on how we might skip over a month or skip over a week or 2, depending on how I'm doing the releases. So that was good. I was very excited with this call. It was really good to talk to her and just kind of pick her brain. And again, I didn't come out with this big giant, oh my God, I have this plan now that's going to take me through the year. That's not what this was. This was just a conversation.
Right.
Yeah. In the evening, didn't do anything at all. Friday, I did not write at lunch. I ended up playing my football game. I was trying to get the game that I was currently playing finished because I have all the boxes and all the packages that I've ordered over the last couple of weeks ready for a big unboxing that I was going to do on my channel. A lot of people like those, and I enjoy doing them. It's kind of like Christmas morning. I have like 5 or 6 things to unbox, so it's fun. And then the evening, not much of anything. Saturday, big author day. A big author day for me. This is what the plan was. The plan was a big author day, Rich. This was going to be right. This was going to, in fact, I have a list here. Let me just read the list. The list goes like this. Get the Etsy set up with my new items, my notebook, my bookmark, all that good stuff. So add new products to my Etsy. Finally pick between author.email and MailerLite. Watch and write a Perry Mason recap. Get an email ready to send. And there's an interesting article from Dave Cheston about a free QR code maker. If you remember back in December, I kind of haphazardly paid $142 for a 1-year subscription. So the QR codes I put on my notebooks wouldn't expire, not knowing that you could do it free. And Dave Cheston sent a free one out a couple weeks ago. I saved it, and I wanted to go back and check it out and see if I could use that, which, spoiler alert, I could. And then I also wanted to experiment with ordering a cheap pair of glasses. These glasses I'm wearing right now are my readers, and they look fantastic right here. They don't look so great about here. And I wanted to be like, so I went to ChatGPT and I said, here's my prescription. What number would I change so that I can go back a little bit? So when I'm sitting at my desk at work and I'm leaning back and I'm low, I can still see my monitor perfectly. And it gave me the numbers to change. So I ordered a $40 pair off Zenny. And we'll see what happens. So yeah, see what happens. Cool. So that's all the stuff I wanted to do on Saturday. And then so the first thing was to go to Chick-fil-A. That's the first thing you got to do. I did a grocery order. Then I went to Chick-fil-A. And I started working on chapter 12. I took it from 3,125 words down to 1,533 words. This was what I write here. This one was easier as one. Okay. So yeah, this was a big one. I remember this chapter. So I'm having the police in this book be a lot more hostile to Sam. I want a Perot Detective Japp style of friendship between my main character, the amateur sleuth, and like a bigwig in the police department. That's what I want. Right. But and I kind of went into this book thinking, well, I'll just write it and I'll just make it the assumption that they've known each other for a while and they already have that relationship. And Super Editor C was like, no. You want hostility in this first one. You want them to over time become friends. So she said, you got to change what you have there with the police. The police would never do that with your character. Mm-hmm. And Dan from my writers group, who works at the police station, I think it's in Youngstown, said the same thing when I read stuff a couple of months ago. He's like, the police would never do that. And I'm like, well, it's my book. I want it to be like that. And then C is like, the police would never do that. I'm like, yeah, whatever you say, oh Lord, editor. So that was an easy one to change. I took a lot of stuff out of there of them just being friendly with each other, made them hostile, and then over time, in fact, I wrote the chapter today where he starts to ease up a little. So, let's see. Then I went to chapter.
The thing is about that comment, and I know you've made that comment before that people said to you that police would never do that, but what always passes through my mind right away is, do the people that are reading the book, the kind of people that are reading the book, know that? And number two, do they care?
100% agree with you. Yeah. What is that called? You have to have what is that called when you have to have some assumption of? You have to
suspend your disbelief. Yeah.
Suspend your disbelief. There you go. Yeah. There has got to be something. I think, the way I'm writing it, I think is going to work out okay. It's, this is what annoys me about my editor. She's the best, right? And this is what annoys me about her is every book I've written, this is my 4th book I've written now that she's edited. And every time she gets back to me and says, you need to change this would never happen. You need to do this instead. I'm so stubborn to make those changes because I don't want to. But then I agree to, and then I start writing it. And this is what happened to me a couple days ago. It was yesterday. I was at lunch at work and I'm writing. I'm like, oh, this is so much better. It happens every single time. This is so much better of a story. She knows what she's talking about. And that's, So I was able to do a second chapter on this day. This is chapter 13. It's the midpoint. This is Saturday. Combination of 2 chapters. This is the one that went. Now, this one didn't actually change that much. This was a combination of 2 chapters that were 3,860 total words. And they only went down to 3,591. So not a big change. A couple hundred words here. But getting 2 chapters done in a day is nice. It means I'm getting past those chapters early on that were the biggest changes. I'm getting into the ones that have a little bit less until we get to chapter 7. So once I got home, I played the rest of my football game. that I didn't record because I just want to get it over with. And then I started a new one. I played the first half of a new one that I did record, and then I lost sound for the last half hour of the stupid video because my microphone battery wasn't charged up or whatever it was. It's annoying. So I had to edit that part out. That's it. And then all those fun author things I talked about doing at the beginning of Saturday, that all the lists I read off, it was like 8:15. I really didn't do any of them. So actually I sat on the couch for a little.
Well, get through 2 chapters. That's more than enough for a day.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's the most important thing is I can't do any other stuff if I don't get the book done. So.
All right.
Sunday, I'm up earlier. I'm up earlier than usual. Earlier than I wanted to be. It was like 6:15 when I got up. And I kind of putzed around the computer for about an hour. And then I took a shower, came back to my computer. And I already knew that I was going to write at lunch on that day. I wasn't going to go to breakfast because, again, Panera is my only option. There's no NFL football, so I can go to lunch and be out a little bit later in the afternoon than normal. I'll be home by like noon. So in the morning, this is where I started doing some of those things. And the first,
before you go on, I just want to drop in here. I know you don't like Panera, but we had a meeting at the library yesterday, and they had Panera cater it with coffee and bagels and stuff. And there is like a whole box full of bagels left over that they gave to the staff and donuts and stuff. And I ate 3 bagels.
See, I don't like bagels. I get annoyed when I'm at work and says, we brought bagels today. I'm like, why would you buy bagels? Are halfway to a donut and they stop. That's ridiculous. So, but I love their blueberry muffins. Don't get me wrong. I love it. So this is where I started to try to work on that list from the previous day. And the first thing I had to do was to decide between author.email and MailerLite. And the pros and cons go like this. Author.email is a lot cheaper. I think you can go up to like 10,000 emails before you have to go past like $20 a month, something like that. MailerLite is like the minute you get to like 2,500 emails, you're paying like $30 a month, and it just goes up from there. It's terrible. So the previous day I had read a review from a guy who was talking about author.email, and he said one of the things they don't have is the automation sequence. This was a review from like July, maybe June of last year, and I went and looked. I went in my account and looked, and I really could not figure out whether they had the automation sequence or not. So I decided to go look to YouTube to see if I could find some demos. And this leads me to my con number 2, because automation missing is a big con. That's a big deal for me. Like, I love those automations. And then con number 2 for this author.email is literally no one's talking about it, Rich. And I don't know why. Like, this is developed. It's Nick Thacker is the name I tried to come up with last week. He's an indie author. He's in that same atmosphere with those indie authors at 20 books that we've seen before, because he's a speaker. There's a bunch of other speakers. I just assume they all hang out together. I don't know, but he's in that group, right? He's in that group of authors who get invited to 20 books. Maybe he gets to what's the new one called? Author Nation. Maybe he goes to Author Nation. I don't know. But yet, even with that, the people that have YouTube channels and write reviews and stuff in that same group never talk about author.email. I don't know why. So I went to author.email's YouTube channel. They have 6 videos. The most recent one is from 5 years ago. They don't even talk about author.email.
Yeah.
Like, I don't get it. Like, I don't understand why there's no demo videos. Why does nobody talk about it? I found one review Saturday morning while I was eating breakfast before I started writing, where from June of last year, I saw nothing else. Then I went to, I go to Dave Chesson. Dave Chesson writes this stuff on his website all the time. What is it? Authorpreneur, I think is the website. He writes that stuff all the time. And he wrote a review. What are the 3 best email services for authors? This was from December of 2025, 2 months ago. He wrote this, and he had MailChimp, MailerLite, and ConvertKit, which is now called Kit.
Right.
He didn't talk about it. Like, I don't get it. Like, I don't understand what the problem is. So based on all of that,
I think the major problem is the one you pointed out is the fact that there's no automation sequences, and virtually everybody's been trained now to go ahead and use those. And so if they don't have it, and there's no indication they're going to do it if it's been 5 years. It's been out there in the wild and they haven't done anything with it.
Yeah,
it'd be interesting to know if even they use it.
I doubt it. I don't know. It's weird. So now what I decided to do was only import into. So I went with MailerLite. Had to pick a plan. And what I wanted to do was I didn't want to pull all. There's no reason to pull the 1,200 or so science fiction time travel people into the MailerLite quite yet, because I'm not doing anything with them. They were freebie seekers. Very few people actually read the books. So I'm not really dealing with them. So I pulled in the 308 subs I have from MailerLite. Well, it was in author.email. I had it in a spreadsheet because if you don't remember, MailerLite last year, sometime in the middle of summer, just wrote me an email and said, hey, if you don't pay us, we're going to delete all of your stuff. And they did. They deleted my lists. They deleted my automation sequences, everything. Luckily, I went and downloaded my my lists first. So what I did was I imported the 308 murder mystery people I had from one promo that I did in 2023. And this goes back to something that Ellie told me, is you should constantly be cleaning your list. So if you send something out to somebody and, maybe after 3 months they don't respond, send them an email and just say, hey, are you still interested in being on the list? And if they open it and click yes, then not respond. I'm sorry, they don't even open the email. Mm-hmm. So then send them an email and say, hey, are you interested in staying on the list? If they say yes, then you keep them on the list. If they say no, you just things like that. And the plan, and I we'll talk about this when I get to the Substack stuff, but I went with the $1,000 a month. And there's two different options. The advanced plan. What's that?
Not $1,000 a month. 1,000 emails a month.
Well, I felt like it. I'll tell you that right. 1,000 emails a month, right. Which is $30 for the advanced plan or $15 for the growing business plan. So the only real difference is that the $30 a month plan includes a Facebook custom audience, and this is something Ellie and I talked about. She talked about retargeting Facebook, retargeting your current group, your current list. Retarget them on Facebook, so they'll see it in your email, they'll see you on Facebook. What is it, 7? They say it takes 7 touches before somebody actually buys something.
Right.
But the $30 plan doesn't have that. Now, here's the thing: there's nothing that says I can't just download the email addresses myself and import them into Facebook myself. I don't know what this Facebook custom audience. Maybe it's just an easier way to do it. Maybe it connects with Facebook. I don't know. Yeah. But I can do it manually myself. So that's no big deal. Then there's something about multiple automation triggers in the $30 plan. I don't know what that means, but it doesn't exist in the 15. But because of automation being a big deal to me, I put it in here. Those are the only two things that were different between the advanced one for $30 a month and the what was it called, growing business plan for $15 a month. So I went with the growing business plan with the idea of doing it monthly. I'm not doing it year to year because if something changes in 3 months, and we'll talk about Substack a little bit, we'll talk about some other things here. If something changes, I just want to be able to get out of it. I don't want to be locked into $150 and only use like 3 months. So I did go with MailerLite. I did sign up for it. And we'll talk about that other stuff on there later. And then the plan for that day was Buffalo Wild Wings, and I'm driving to the mall where the Buffalo Wild Wings is. And it opens at 11. I pull into the mall at this other end at 10:58 and think, well, I'm not going to go there. I got to drive around for a while before it opens. So I'm not going to walk in at 11. Oh, I'm going to be one of those people that walks in at 11:01. So I'm driving around and I'm coming up to the Hothead Burrito that I haven't been to in a year and a half. And I've already dealt with the sub place locally, walking in there after not being there for a year and a half and have to explain where I've been. And I'm like, I might as well just do this, break the seal so I can start going back. I really like this. And I know you all think I'm crazy for how I'm talking. My mom and dad said the same thing. But so I just pulled in. It's like 11:02 by the time I get in there. And I knew I was going to hear it, Rich. I knew I was going to hear where you've been, what's going on. And I went inside and literally 9 new people behind the counter. Yep. And not a single person recognized me and not a single person that I recognize, which is great. The girl who was actually you hand your money to at the end of the counter, I'm pretty sure I recognized her. And if she recognized me, she didn't say anything, which made me happy because I was able to still write in peace and not have to explain my life story.
18 months is a long time in retail. It's a long.
Oh, that place goes through just so many. That place has. When I was going back there before, I was going about once or twice a week. The turnover at that place was amazing. So I'm not. It's not even the managers. Like there were a couple of managers there I didn't recognize any of them. And I knew all the managers from the other one, so, which was good. So while I was there, I went to chapter 14. And well, actually, first what I did was I exchanged a couple of insulting messages with my friends. One of them I've known since we were 4 years old. The other one since we were 10. And so naturally, you just break balls with each other. You don't actually have conversations. You just call each other names and insult each other. And that's what we did for a good half an hour, which was always fun. Then I went to chapter 14, and I changed that one. That one went from 2,449 words to 2,367. So again, only 100 and maybe 80 words, 78 words, whatever that is. And then on chapter 15, this is the one I was talking about earlier. No, this isn't it. So this is. Let's see, it started at 2,083. I took it down to 1936. So not much change here in the word count, just a few words here and there between those. And what did I say here? Let's see. Oh, this is where I was talking about how I'm sitting there writing and I'm just thinking, oh my God, this is so much better than it was when I wrote it. Like her ideas, I'm writing this story. I'm taking her ideas and writing the story. And not even all of her ideas, just a couple she had me put here and there. And it just makes the story so much better. Like these little changes just make it so much better.
Yeah, having the outside eyes on your work really helps.
I feel like it makes it flow better. It makes my story, I don't know if it flowed as well as this one does. This one goes from like this point to this point to this point, and it makes sense. And I always imagine, I don't know if you do this, but I always imagine when I'm writing that I'm watching it on TV. So in my head, I can see it happening as I'm writing.
I think I've mentioned on this podcast before that I do that so much that a lot of times I will just stop writing and I'm just in my head playing the movie, you know.
Nice.
I just forget what's going on, what I'm doing.
I like it. That's great. And then let's see, I moved on to chapter 16 next. So I was on my third chapter now during this day. And this is going to be this is what I was talking about. This was 2 chapters combined into one when I was organizing. 5,683 words in these 2 chapters. And I replaced it with a whopping 773 words.
Wow.
It's not done, but it's damn near close. So yeah. Got home, I played my football game, took a couple hours to play it. Before I hit, so this was a big deal about MailerLite. Oh my goodness. I don't know if anybody's out there's gone through this, but you have to like verify your domain. And this is something I worked on in the morning, and this was a pain.
Yeah.
There were not good instructions anywhere. I had to go into my Candy Cloud account. I had to go into the something zone something, and go into the text, the files area and update these files, and it wasn't working. And then I just went back to MailerLite, and right underneath the part that said you need to do this was a video where you just watch it and shows you how to do it. That goes to the whole not reading instructions thing, I guess. And so it took me some time to get that working. And then later that night, before I hit the couch, I did check it, and everything was good. We're all verified. Everything's good to go. So I'm ready to use MailerLite again.
It'll be interesting to see how it goes. Yeah.
On Monday, I spent the first half of my morning. Oh God, jury duty. I got called for jury duty a couple of weeks ago. Apparently, I did. I didn't even know it. I didn't even because I don't get my mail. My mail will sit in the mailbox for like a week before I get it because I never get it. So when I opened my mailbox finally, this would have been like on maybe Thursday or Friday, I saw that I had the second notice. So on Monday, I had to then go and fill out the questionnaire on the website, and then you just wait. So this coming Friday, day after tomorrow at 4:30, I would call to see if I was to go in on Monday because it was for Monday. It was coming Monday. So we have a project that we've been working on for like 10 months at work. And and one of our people told somebody that, hey, it's going to be released March 2nd, which it's not going to be ready March. And, but this person told this person anyway. So now we're like, okay, we got a deadline now. So March 2nd is the deadline. And we've been working hard all week this week on it. And it looks like we'll be fine, but well, we'll get to that in a second. Well, the deadline's been moved. Let's just put it that way. So I got a hold of our HR person. I got a hold of my buddy, this guy that I work with, Brian, and I asked him, like, tell me more about, I've never been called to jury duty. I've never even been called.
Wow.
So he was explaining to me, he was telling me how he was almost on a federal one. He was so excited, but it was going to take 6 months and work with him to do that. And he's like, you should go. And I kind of got excited about it. I kind of like, yeah, let's go see what the process is. This is cool. So I got a hold of my HR department and just said, hey, what do we do? Like, what do I do? She's like, well, you'll have a jury duty section in your UKG that you can go in, and we can load up, 40 hours in case you need them. That way you're not taking PTO or anything like that, and if you get paid, because a lot of times you get paid for jury duty, I guess you get paid for, and companies, including my old company, they make you give them the money because they're paying. Not the company I work for. They're like, nah, you can keep the money.
It's like $10 a day, so it's not
right.
Yeah,
it's great. So then I went to my boss's boss and I said, hey, here's what's going on. What do you want me to do? And he's like, try to get out of it. We need you here on March 2nd. So I went, all right. So then I went back to our HR woman and I said, hey, can you give me a letter that gets me out of it? And I explained to her what's going on. Half an hour later, she sent me a letter. I uploaded it into the portal, the jury portal. And half an hour later after that, I got a text message from the woman. I forget her name, but she's like the jury wrangler. I don't know what the title is. Yeah. And she says, do you want to just miss a week or do you want to go to the next session or whatever? And I was like, just defer me to the next one. And she's like, okay, you're set up for April 13th. So April 13th, I may have jury. And I got out of it this week, which I kind of wanted to go. I was kind of disappointed. I kind of thought it'd be interesting to go. So
it's not actually, it's a lot of boring. You sit around and you wait and you wait and you wait. And often I've been called in 5 times since I've lived here. And never made it to a jury. So
okay, I think it'd probably be interesting if you made it to a jury. Like you just got to see a case, how that would work.
Yeah.
But,
yeah. Well, the problem is that 90 to 95% of the cases are settled right at the last minute, just before they go to trial. So,
yeah. So anyway, so I'll be there April 13th. I'll probably get a card, and I'll probably have to go in that week and that Monday, or at least I'll have to call the Friday before to see if I have to go.
right.
So then I went. At lunch, I went across the street to the library, and this is now where I am starting this chapter 17, which is 4 scenes. They're all new, but they're all short. And I walked out of my house thinking to myself, something's wrong. I'm not carrying enough items. I walked across the street. I sat down, and I went to connect my computer to my phone, internet, and realized, oh, I didn't bring my phone. That's weird. And like, there's this part of me that's like, go back and get it. And I'm like, no, I'll only be here an hour. Like, who cares? That's probably the first time I've ever been away from my phone, separated with it for longer than 5-10 minutes. 25 years. I don't know. I don't know how people do it. There are times when I text you, right, and you don't get back to me until the next day or later, and I'm just like, I'm so jealous of how you can do that, because I'm always looking at my, okay, I got to text you that. So
well, yeah. I've got my phone on me almost all the time because it's recording my steps, because I do step count every day, but it's turned off. It's silent, and I just I'll just forget about it. I'll forget about it that I've got it.
Goodness, it's so impressive. So I sat there, and this is where I started working on the new chapter. So I wrote 17.1, which was 213 words, very short. 17.2, 645. And I was looking at the hero's journey, and this is literally just after the midpoint. So it kind of makes sense for me to be writing these 4 short scenes, because it's kind of the action section of the hero's journey, which is right after the midpoint. So I really, again, super editor C knows what she's doing. I don't even think she never said hero's journey to me once, but this fit in as if she just like subliminally knew that that's what this should be. Worked the rest of the day, and then this is where I did the fun unboxing video. It's on my channel. It's linked in the show notes. It's like Christmas morning for me. It's a video it's the most recent video I've done. Those videos always get the most views, which I love. But I had golf stuff. I had football stuff, basketball stuff. I mean, I had all kinds of stuff unboxed, and it was a lot of fun. If I can't switch cameras, I've done this before. Can I switch cameras?
I'm not sure it worked.
No, you can't do it.
Yeah.
I wonder why you can't do it. It's so weird that you can't do it while you're recording. Yeah, you can't switch. That's weird to me. But anyway, so I have a basketball game set up right down here in front of me. In fact, here, I'll show you one of the cards. There's one of the cards.
Okay.
To the port. I don't know if is it facing the right way for you? Or
yeah.
Is it backwards?
Yeah. No, it's fine.
So this is what the basketball card looks like. I'm very excited to play. I'm going to play Cleveland versus Portland from 91-92. My senior year of high school was one of my favorite years for the Cavaliers, so I'm going to play that and have a good time. So now Tuesday, I'm in the office. Oh, go ahead. Tuesday I'm in the office. There's light snow in the morning, annoying 20-degree weather again. It's just, I mean, it's every day. It's not every day. Most days since Thanksgiving, this is what it's been. It's just, but again, looking around March 6th or 7th, this is when we start putting a whole bunch of days together. I'm very excited. So while I'm in the office, okay, so I did some chatting with ChatGPT. Actually, I did this in the morning before I left. But again, I'm going to talk. This is about MailerLite and Substack. I'm going to wait and talk to you later about it. So then at lunch, I went back and began working on the next scene in chapter 17, 17.3. And this is the scene where the detective brings my main character to this police station. He thinks he's in trouble, but it turns out that the police officer wants to show him something, ask him what he thinks about it. And it's partially because he's kind of growing on him, but also partially because he's part of the case. He was a witness, so he might know, he knows the victim and the accused. He might know what this thing is. And but this is like my first time that my main character is like, okay, he's softening. This is interesting. And then last night, did I write what I did in there words wise? Yeah. So I wrote 937 words in about 45 minutes, and then I went back to work. And then the evening last night, not a lot, but I did unbox. After my unboxing, I did open up the basketball, set up my OBS so that I have like the cards and this computer screen and me on the camera so I can actually film a video. I didn't play it. It took me about 40 minutes to get it all set up. And then went back to the couch until bedtime. And then today I work from home. At lunch, I went across the street to continue working through all the scenes in this chapter. And I didn't actually write down in the outline what I did. I know I worked on finishing 17.3 and writing 17.4, which I don't think 17.4. I thought I was finished, and then I looked at my notes and went, I got to add a few more things to it. So what did I write today? Today I wrote 719 words in about 45 minutes. And and now we're podcasting, and I'm going to get off this podcast when we're done, and I'm going to watch Jen Murray with her Seinfeld, and I'm going to watch our weather, and there's some music people I want to react to, and then I'm going to go to bed. And that was my week. And I talked for a long time there. I apologize.
Busy week.
Yeah.
My week, last Wednesday, I think I mentioned on when we were podcasting on Tuesday that I was going to go to the gym in the morning at 5 o'clock before I went to work. Well, I hardly slept during the night at all. I think I maybe got about 2 hours of sleep. And that's a big problem I've had since I've been back from my mother's place. I just have not been able to put together more than 3 or 4 hours a night in a row without drugging myself. And when I drug myself, of course, I'm not going to get up and go to the gym. So anyways, I didn't get up and go to the gym on Wednesday morning. I instead punted on that in favor of a leisurely breakfast before my first day back at work. The morning when I went there, I spent sorting donations. They really piled up while I was gone. I made very little headway on it, but I did do something at least. At lunch, I did dig around and found some articles about how to build a Substack and how to do it in a logical, incremental way that was productive. But yeah, I had some questions, but that were starting to creep into my mind. But I couldn't really put them together, given the limited amount of time I had on Wednesday lunch in order to think about it. After work, I did make it to the gym, so I went there for about 45 minutes. I was able to do that because Tammy was off at a talk of some kind about orchids, I think it was. So I spent 45 minutes, then came home and had some dinner. I had started a house sparrow trap for Tammy. I don't think I mentioned this last time. Maybe I did. House sparrows are an invasive species in this country, and they're very aggressive, and they chase all native birds away from feeders, and they take up their breeding habitat and stuff. So Tammy wanted to get rid of them. One thing we did before I left, I believe, before I left for my mother's, is that we, for whatever reason, house sparrows are mortally afraid of hanging string. So we hung string around the feeders. I made a little armature with wood, and then we hung string from it, kind of like they look like little marionette setups, and they're just hanging there with little weights on the end. There's nothing special. House sparrows will not go through that to get to the feeder.
Really?
We have yet to see a house sparrow on one of our feeders. So that was fantastic. But she wanted to go the next mile and try to trap them and do all kinds of unspeakable things to them once they're trapped to get rid of them. It's funny. At one point, a year or two, or a few years ago, she was talking to some guy, old Italian, that she had met at a park that she went to look at birds. And he was telling me, oh yeah, back in the old country, we trap those and then we eat them.
So, oh jeez, I didn't expect that.
There can't be very much meat on a sparrow,
no.
but that's apparently what they do. Thursday, I was at the library all day. The morning was really kind of slow, so I had more time to look into Substack and not just download a bunch of articles that I didn't have time to read. And I do have some questions, and we'll save that to the end, and we can talk about it more. Lunchtime was spent eating at Chick-fil-A, and since I'm a really slow eater, I didn't get back to the library until it was time to go back to work. But there was really nothing to do. The desk was covered, and there's no real need to sort donations on that day. So I went to work editing on Chapter 1. I wanted to start back at the beginning because it had been so long since I looked at it. Every time I go back to Chapter 1, I make it better. And that's my problem, is I always think I make it better. And there's no way to find an end to that except to just do it and then keep going forward. I just really haven't had the opportunity or the motivation to keep going forward. But I spent an hour editing it. I'm doing it on hard copy this time through. So I wasn't sure at that point, actually even now at this point, how many words I've added or subtracted. I think I've subtracted a fair few of them. That would be my gut reaction.
Was this your NaNoWriMo or your whatever it's called, Novel November book? Is that which one this is?
I started it then, yes. But I didn't finish it. I finished it.
Is that the one you're editing? Or is that a different one?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, I think when did I finish? I finished it like right before Christmas sometime. I think, yeah.
Okay, sorry, I didn't mean that's
no, that's fine. Yeah. So for now, I'm not going to worry about how long or short the story was. If you remember, it was like touching right on 100,000 words on the finished first draft. It can't be anywhere near that long in order to be a thriller. But I think a lot of it will fall by the wayside. I then was starting to fall asleep while I was doing it because I hadn't had a good night's rest in weeks now at this point. So I decided to get up. I went and sifted through some more donations after that first chapter. I'd be really embarrassed to donate some of these books that people donate to the library. They're in such poor condition, and they're dirty, and they're mildewed and everything. I basically think that at least some people who donate are kind of using the library as a dumpster, as opposed to just as opposed to just putting it in their trash. Why don't they just trash them themselves? Maybe they feel there are a set of people out there who feel really guilty about throwing away books. It's just paper, folks. You can throw them away. It's okay. Or recycle them, even better. Put them in the recycling. Friday, I had a day off. And like I've said many times before, one thing about having a day off is it completely demotivates me from doing anything about writing. All I wanted to do is sit around and read, but of course, Tammy had other ideas. I wasn't even done with breakfast, and she was back from the chicken coop with the door dangling from her hands. It had just completely fallen apart on her. And boy, I don't know about you, but I really hate to be presented with things to do before I've even had my coffee. I'd rather get off a slow start. But that kind of set off my anxiety, which I have trouble with anyways because of everything that's happening in the world. But I didn't really have much choice. After breakfast, I did.
Wait, have you ever? I don't know if you're familiar with comedian Bill Burr.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So Bill Burr and I love Bill Burr. He does a great bit where he basically says you can never have a day off if you have a girlfriend.
Yeah.
Which I think is hilarious.
Well, the corollary to that is, how do you get your girlfriend to stop bothering you? You marry her.
There you go.
So after breakfast, I finished doing what I was started to do earlier in the week, probably the previous weekend, right after I got back from my mom's, which was putting together LED lighting panels and hanging them from the shelves in the house where we're going to be starting our seeds. Right now, I've got tomatoes and lettuce germinating over there. My wife is going to plant up a bunch of flowers soon. And that's basically, we do our own seed starting. So when we go to plant, it's all stuff that we've started usually.
Okay.
I ate a quick lunch, laid down for a nap, and then I had to drink a bunch of water after that, or before that, I drank a bunch of water because I was outside and it was kind of dry. And so I was forced to get up after an hour. And then I was feeling guilty about not working. And the mind gremlins were driving me crazy. So I just got dressed. I don't know if I mentioned it, but I was wandering around in my boxers, which I do all the time here, even outside in my backyard because I don't care. Because I'm 67 years old and I don't care anymore. And they are boxers. They're almost like shorts, In fact, back in the 70s, when we were to wear shorts, they were shorter than these boxers.
Yeah,
now, so.
we call them the John Stockton shorts.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So anyways, I got dressed, went outside, and attacked the chicken door. It was nearly 85 that day. And it was too early to be that hot down here. But I tried to cut a new door and fix the mechanisms that allows it to slide up and down. But after about an hour and a half of trying to re-engineer that whole thing, it just didn't work. I couldn't get it to slide. It was getting pinched. I couldn't figure out why. So I was really discouraged, and I just punted on it for the rest of the day. And I came in and I broke out my model trains. I've got model trains. I've got both HO scale and N scale model trains. I broke off the N scale model trains and started playing with them. So that was something to take my mind off it. Saturday, again, I was reminded about how long things take to do. I woke up mid-morning after breakfast and went out, and I was going to create a new chicken door. It wasn't going to be sliding. It was going to be a trap door that comes up and down on a hinge. Should take about an hour or two in the back of my mind. That's what I was thinking. 6 hours later, it was finally finished and installed. These chickens are really starting to get on my nerves because something like this is always happening. The only good point is that we have a plethora of eggs, and I love eggs. So now I've got a huge mess scattered across the carport. And although I want to quit, I want to go in, I'm hot. I couldn't even walk through the carport because when I do anything, I just kind of scatter tools all over the place. So it took an hour to clean it all up and put it away. Once I was inside the house and it was almost dark, I did try to do a little bit of editing after getting something to eat. But I couldn't keep my mind on it. So I just sat down with a puzzle and played with that for a couple hours before going to bed. Sunday, at this point, this past Sunday, I was still not at the point where I felt I wanted to go back to church and have to interact with a lot of people and have them ask me lots of questions about my mom and stuff. So we just stayed home. After breakfast, we did pull out all our seeds and start organizing them for the spring garden. I did finish hanging those LED panels on our seed starting shelves, and some of that I had to cut some new plywood for, which got me back out on the carport and made me mess it up a little bit more, but it wasn't all that bad. Once all that prep work was done and completed, I did sift a bunch of compost, mixed it with vermiculite, and planted up the 2 seed trays that are over there growing right now. One has, I think, 8 different kinds of tomatoes planted in it, and the other one's got 72 plugs of romaine lettuce. So I'm looking forward to maybe getting a lot of lettuce this year. And then again that evening, it was just a puzzle before bed. Monday at work, not much happened. I thought I would plant some more seeds when I got home. I ran out of juice. Spent 8 hours basically dealing with library patrons, and it takes up a lot of energy to do that. We were a little bit shorthanded on Monday, so I was on the desk the whole day. Yesterday, I didn't have be at work until noon, but since I'm still not been sleeping. More than a couple hours of stretch. I didn't get up until 9, and by the time I had breakfast and my coffee, it was basically time to leave for the library. So once I got to the library, it was pretty quiet. I did do a bunch of personal bookkeeping that I had let slide while I was up in Detroit. But I told you about the bagels. Yeah. I think I did that on there, right? You
did.
Yeah. So I had the 3 bagels for basically an afternoon snack. And for some reason, that fired me up. So I sat down at dinner hour and just started editing and made it through chapter 2. And chapter 2 was a fairly long chapter. And it was, like I said, it wasn't a complete rewrite, as I kind of mentioned it at the top. But it was like an 85%, 90% completely new words. And that made it a lot of work. But I'm kind of happy where it's at right now. And then today, again, I was at the library all day. Didn't have any time at all to edit. In the morning, I was doing book displays because the new month is coming up on the weekend. We have to turn over all the book displays. And then in the afternoon, there was a whole bunch of donations came in during the week, and I just can't stand it when they're all piled up, helter-skelter all over the place. Yeah. So I spent a good 4 or 5 hours just going through all the donations, sorting them, getting them boxed up to either throw in the dumpster or send to our Recycle Reads program. So where they'll edit and where they'll sell them. And now we're recording. After this, I'm going to, I don't know what's in the refrigerator. I know we cooked some chicken, so probably have some chicken and maybe even chop up some chicken and put it on a frozen pizza. I might do that too.
I wasn't sure if I was going to go to work tomorrow or not. I thought I might do a work from home day. And I decided today I was going to go, and on my way to pick up Max at my parents' house around 5:30, 6 o'clock, I stopped at the grocery store to get a couple things to take with me, which is I get a breakfast bowl, like one of those Jimmy Dean's bacon breakfast bowls, and I'll get like a Reese cups, and then I'll have to have a banana, which I already have. So that'll be my breakfast. And I started thinking, what do I want to snack on in the afternoon? And then you came into my mind, and I bought an entire box of Tony's. So I'll be taking that tomorrow.
Are those Jimmy Dean breakfast bowls good?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll have to try them out.
They're like $3-4 each. It could be a little bit cheaper, but they're twice the size, maybe 3 times the size as the Chick-fil-A bowls, maybe twice the size because they're a little shorter, but they're a lot wider. Oh, okay. And they're not. I mean, there's no potatoes in them. It's bacon, cheese, eggs, and I think there's something else that I can't think of.
No sausage? It's Jimmy Dean. There should be sausage in there.
No, I'm a bacon guy. I'm not a sausage guy.
Oh, okay. That's just the kind you buy.
They have sausage too. I just get
okay.
They have a meat one too, which I got accidentally once. It's just I like it. So. Anyway, so yeah.
Yeah, and in terms of my running list of future things to do, sort out the Substack thing in my head and see what I want to do with it. But that's probably going to take a couple weeks. Or maybe not after we talk later.
Yeah. I'll talk about why there's one big con for me that's really making me struggle here.
Okay.
My running list of future things to do, I actually going to cross something off. and that is set up
nice.
MailerLite or author email, depending on what I chose. And I made the decision, and I'm going to hit the delete button, and it's gone now. So I'm back down to just a couple of ads courses I have, which those are down the road. Those are after I've released book 3. I won't even worry about it. I might throw some Amazon ads out there just because they're cheap and they don't really spend a lot of money just to get them out there.
Right.
But I don't. We'll see. So, in terms of my Dick 2, I'll give you a 2, actually. I have 1 on here, but I'll give you a 2. The first one is going to be my HR department at my job. They're like the nicest people in the world. That I never thought that like a company, we're a small company, we're a few hundred employees, whatever it is, but they literally care about their employees. And I would never thought, coming from my previous job, that I would ever have an HR department. But the things like coming up with me, with the whole thing about going south next year, they were like, yeah, no problem. Here's what you get. It's more than what you thought. That's great. And then giving us, last year they gave us extra work from home days. Like she did the whole thing for the jury duty for me. Like they legitimately care about the employees.
That is nice. Yeah.
So they're great. So, and then the second one is because we've had a nice couple nice days in the 50s that melted our snow. Then it just dropped again, and we had a bunch of cold and snow the last week or so. That led me back to Verbo, just Googling or searching like crazy for houses that I want to stay in next year when I go down there.
Did you find anything?
I've bookmarked a few of them. And I got a buddy down there, Dave, who I golf with on the weekends. Up here, he's down there for the winter. He's down there for 3 months, January through March, and I send him the link to it. Just say, hey, can you run by this and check it out? So he'll send me videos of the places, and I'll send him a couple more whenever I see one, and he'll just run by if it's raining or something. He's not golfing. He'll run by, take some videos. So I've bookmarked a couple of them.
Okay, cool. Let me ask you.
Let me ask you this. Let me ask you.
Sure.
Is it like I'm gonna be there for 6 weeks, maybe 7 weeks, depending on how I send it? And I have a dog, right? Mm-hmm. Is it a jerk move to not take my dog? Because my mom and dad said they would take care of him.
No.
I just feel like I have a dog. My dog loves me. I love my dog. I'm going to leave him here for 7 weeks. But like, I feel guilty. I feel super guilty about saying, I'm just going to leave him here where, there's a giant fence, another dog, a dog next door, people there all the time. Whereas I'll be going out to golf, things like that. So I just feel kind of guilty there.
Let me tell you a story. When
okay.
It's not quite dog related, but it's similar. My son was somewhere between 8 and 10 when we first decided that, it was time for him to go to camp during the summer. And we were really worried about it because, he was homeschooled. He'd never been away from home by himself. And we were really worried how he was going to react. I mean, he knew the kids he was going to camp with, or at least many of them, because it was a church camp. So we took him to this camp. It's like 2 hours away from home. And it's not like something, if he starts bawling or whatever, that they're going to allow him to call or let's come pick him up. So we take him there, and we let him loose. And everybody that's coming in, they right away, the counselors and stuff jump on the kids, trying to make them feel welcome and everything. So yeah, he goes off. We kind of disappear into the sunset. A week later, we come back. And the first thing he says to us when he sees us is, "You're back already?" so your dog is going to be the same way because he knows your parents. He spends a lot of his time over at your parents. A lot of his time. Yeah, and it'll be in his brain. It'll be like, "You're back already?"
Yeah, I don't want to get there and have him forget who I am. That makes me
sad. I don't think that's likely.
I think it would be better for both of us because then I can leave the place to go golf and not worry about him just by at the strange apartment, whatever it is, by himself. Right. And then I know he's not going to, he's barking and keeping people awake, whatever that would be annoying. And then he'll have more fun.
And in fact, that would probably be more traumatizing to him than anything is to be in a strange place and you're not there. You've gone someplace. So
okay.
Yeah, that's not a jerk move. My addicted to, it's still ice cream, except I think as I hinted last time, I've transitioned from Dutch double chocolate to Rocky Road. So, yep.
Okay.
Rocky Road every single night this last week.
You always have the best things to be addicted to.
Okay, my brother sent me a text. Did I tell you about this? My brother sent me a text. He lives in kind of not an assisted living, but a senior living, independent living thing because he just, because of his addiction problems, he's got a certain type of dementia. It's not really like Alzheimer's or anything, but it's he just really can't be trusted to take care of himself necessarily. So he lives at a place where he gets his apartment cleaned twice a week. He gets his laundry done, that kind of thing. The Girl Scouts decided to come into the place and set up a table in the lobby. The place let them to sell their cookies. Old people, they like Girl Scouts. They'll sell a few cookies. It's probably almost as good, probably not quite as good as setting up outside a weed dispensary.
Right, exactly.
My brother bought 27 boxes of cookies. and he laid them all out on his kitchen table and sent me a picture of them. So anyways, I think it kind of runs in the family, being addicted to sweets.
Yeah, sounds like it. All right, so looking at my schedule for this week, tomorrow is Thursday. I'm getting so mixed up on the days, but tomorrow is Thursday. I'm in the office tomorrow. I will write at lunch. I'll move on to shop. I got to finish up 17.4, the fourth seed. I got to add a few things to it. That probably won't take me the whole lunch hour. So then I'll move on to chapter 18, which is one of those chapters that you talked about earlier, where I have two characters driving an hour south to meet up with this woman for a specific reason. And I have, let's say 2,500 words. In the chapter that I'm going to rewrite, these two characters are going to go down and meet with this woman for a completely different reason. So it's darn near a complete rewrite. Okay. Will I count those as new words? I don't know yet, because a lot of the stuff I put in there with how they interact on the way down, what Sam and Linus do before they meet up with her, that's going to stay mostly the same. It's just when they have that conversation with her, that's going to be completely different. I probably won't count that as new words. And that I probably won't even be able to finish that tomorrow. That's going to leak into Friday.
Yeah. Well, it's not the whether either of us writes new words or don't write new words, or how we count them, doesn't really matter, because the goal is to get something finished and out by the end of the year, right?
Right. Yeah, that's always the goal.
Yeah.
All right. So then on Friday, so I was supposed to take a full day vacation on Friday. But I've changed it to just a 3-hour PTO where I'm going to work 7 to 12. And I have to take my car in at once. So I was going to make it a whole hour so I can go right in the morning, because it's really a tough spot to write at this car dealer. They have 2 tables that aren't very good. You just sit in them in their waiting room. Their waiting room is smaller than the room I'm standing in right now. It's 2 chairs. Then they have over here in this corner, they have a high table. Great. Two big chairs. Great. But then right on the table, it's about this big around. And there's a giant cooler for water right in the middle of it. So I can't even get my laptop onto the table. So I'm going to try as hard, but the reason I did change it is because I have some stuff I have to do at work. We got these deadlines. I'm trying to get as much. We have a giant list of stuff, and we are working through it like crazy. And I just want to get as much stuff as I can done. And I don't know if I should. I don't know if this is insulting to people, but I'm Gen X, and that's what we do. We work hard. So even though we don't want to, we work hard. So that is what I'm going to have to do. So then at noon, I'll leave and I'll take my car and I'll try to write while I'm there. And if I can get comfortable at all with my laptop in my lap or on that table or whatever, I will try to do what I can to write. I'll probably be there for a couple hours. If I can't write, I have a book to read for my writers club that's 417 pages. I'm on page 60. So I probably could use that time to read. But we'll see.
Yeah. The place I take my car, it sounds like basically the same kind of setup that you're describing, except they've got a TV on the wall that's always
they do too.
tuned to some news program or something. It drives me nuts.
Last time I was there, ours was on that Bob Loves Ash show, whatever that. I don't know how to pronounce her name, but it's a sitcom that was on for a couple of years. It's not Joel Murray. It might be. But I've never watched it, and I was there. It was on, and I'm just sitting here watching it, going, "Yeah, this is why I don't watch sitcoms anymore." Terrible.
Yeah, I tried to write in that place one time, and I decided, I just can't do this. Yeah. So now every time I take the car, I just go down to the McDonald's, which is about a 2-block walk, and I just sit there all day.
Mine is in the middle of nowhere.
Oh,
yeah, we don't have that. I wish we did. I would go somewhere else. Saturday and Sunday, nothing exciting. Chick-fil-A on Saturday, probably Hothead on Sunday afternoon. For the writing, I'll probably do the catch up on you said you did some bookkeeping things because you were up north. Well, that's what I do on Sunday mornings, so I don't have to leave until 10:30. I'll get up at 7, whatever time I get up, and then I'll have a few hours just to do those same kind of things. Play my games in the afternoon. Monday I'll work from home. I'll write at lunch. And then I don't know what days I'm going to go in next week. I think we're supposed to get snow Sunday night and Monday night. So that means I'll probably go Wednesday, Thursday, or maybe I'll just go one day and do a work from home day. I have no idea, but I will, regardless of where I'm at, I will continue the writing at lunch. The goal, it's the same as last week. Finish this rewrite. Finish revision Y. And then, I may not finish it by next week, and then I'll fail the goal, but that's okay. That's the goal until I finish it. It's the only thing that matters is to finish revision Y, and then I'll have one more revision afterward called revision C, where Word will read it back to me, and I'll put it through Grammarly, and we'll call it done. And I should be, it's 2.5 weeks. It's creeping up on me here, and I'm still in the middle of revision Y, but I still feel pretty good. So.
Yeah. Well, because you said that this is the hard part right now anyways, right?
Well, I think I'm past the hard part. Now, I've got 12 chapters left, and I would say 7 or 8 of them aren't going to change much. Okay. And a couple of them are going to be new, and the climax is going to be some new, but not much. It's not going to be that much new. So, yeah.
Okay. Well, my coming week, I work every day till we record again next, except for Sunday. So I'm going to be jamming in editing where I can find blank spots in my workday. I got 2 chapters done this past week. I'm going to shoot for 4 chapters this coming week. Should be doable. The only thing I've really got on my schedule right now at work is tomorrow afternoon I have to teach a Canva class, but that'll take a couple hours, and I've done it many times already. So I basically do it extemporaneously. So I just go in there and I kind of feel out where the group is at, and I can't believe this Canva is still so popular. I've probably done about 10, 12 of these classes already. It's still every time I offer one, I fill up the room.
Is it the same people? You get a lot of different people too?
No, it's different people every time.
Wow.
Yeah, and that's why I guess Canva. Canva's. I've known about it for a long, long time. I guess maybe it's just starting to enter the consciousness of the general public. Maybe they've been doing some advertising or something. People realize that's
Facebook advertising.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's it. I don't really have anything to share other than we want to talk a little bit about Substack, I think.
Yeah, I want to go through it real quick and just kind of have you talk about what you came up with, and I'll talk about what I came up with, and we just try to kind of hash out what we think about overall. Well,
kind of at a macro level, what attracted me to Substack is, well, number one, I started following a few people on their writers that I don't know how I initially got hooked onto them, but or became aware that they were on Substack. But and I kind of liked the way it looked, the way it flowed. I liked the way the community was, the writing community there, and I like the concept. Although I know it's no longer strictly this, it was originally designed for newsletters, for people to be able to develop newsletters, be able to mail them out, to have a place on the web where these newsletters resided. And it was very friendly in the sense that, unlike some of the other, in fact, virtually all the others, quote unquote, social media sites, where you basically don't have much access to the people who are reading or doing anything with you. Substack gives you full information. You get their emails, you get everything about what's going on with them. You can find out what other people that they're subscribed to and stuff. And it also serves as a discovery engine, because once you've been there long enough and publishing posts and notes on there long enough, which is basically long form versus short form, that's post versus notes. Substack itself will start recommending you to similar people who have already subscribed to you, based on whatever kind of metrics they use. So it's a way to get your writing to get discovered. Now, you're not going to do a whole lot of pushing on like books or things that you've published. It's just like every place else. The recommendation is like 1 in 10 posts that you make. You might want to mention the books that you're writing, or something about your books, unless you're serializing your books and actually writing them live, posting chapters, which some people do as well. So I liked the concept of all that. The problem is there's a couple of problems. One problem is that if you want a unique domain name, like your author name, like if I wanted to have richcacy.com on there as the link to my Substack, it disappears. It would disappear off the internet except for the link to Substack. So I can't just redirect to Substack and have my Rich Casey be live and Substack Rich Casey be live as well. Now, on the upside, everything you build on Substack can be downloaded at any time. So you can, in fact, they recommend that you'll do probably at least weekly downloads if you're an active poster, and if not, maybe monthly downloads. So that if anything ever happens to Substack, you can always reboot everything that you've done on your own website.
Okay, interesting.
So that's a positive. The other negative has escaped. Well, the other negative is that at the moment, I don't see how they're making money. So they don't charge you. Okay, it's free to use. And at the moment, it has escaped me how they make their money. There is a way they make money, but only if you're making money. So if you're, I guess they must have some kind of a you may know this, talking with the woman, how they make their money. I want to say you can sell things, and you can develop a store on Substack and sell things, and they take a percentage.
Okay, that makes sense.
And it's basically 10%, I think, of everything you sell.
Right.
I don't, at the moment, I've just completely escaped me how that functions there. So, anyways, but even if you just kind of do rough, back of the envelope math on it, they're not making money. They're living off venture capital still. They have to be. So it means advertising is coming at some point, and we know what happened we know what happened when advertising came to Facebook. You lost touch with all your subscribers, because you were no longer being shown organically to them. You had to pay in order to get access to them, and I'm afraid that might happen with Substack as well.
So, wow, that's funny. You and I came at it in a completely different way.
Oh, really?
You looked at it more as, apparently you looked at it more, and correct me if I'm wrong, but you looked at it more as a social media site.
Yeah.
Which in essence could be what it is. I didn't even look at it that way. I looked at it as something that can replace my MailerLite, where I could.
Oh, yeah, it definitely is.
Yeah.
Yes.
But I never looked at it as social media. My thing was write an article, post it on there. You post it, it goes out to your subscribers as an email, just like if you had a mail.
Correct.
Yeah,
that's exactly what it does. And and that was the other attraction. I forgot about that. And I just looked briefly while you were talking. I Googled it, and it jogged my memory. The way Substack makes their money is like Patreon. They allow you to create subscription service. So you have tiered. People can sign up and follow for free, but then they also have tiers for where people want to support your work, and that's where they take 10% of anything that you get. But they do all the back end work in terms of the getting these subscribers onboarded. They handle the money. They do all that kind of stuff, which makes it a lot easier. Well, I guess Patreon does the same thing. But if you wanted to set up subscription on your own website, that'd be a pain in the ass to do.
Yeah. My biggest issue with it. Well, what did you have? I mean, what were your cons? Did you have cons there that I missed?
Well, the cons were the advertising is coming, and what's that going to do to it? Okay. The second big con was the loss of being able to use richcasey.com on the open internet, I guess you want to call it.
Yeah.
You would, instead, if anybody searched on richcasey.com, or if you put it in an advertisement or whatever, they would be pointed to Substack. They'd be pointed to your page on Substack, which is fine. But it's essentially not like it's essentially in a sense like building a website on Wix or something.
It's not substack.com/richcasey.
No, it would be different.
I didn't know that.
You can do that. You can do that for free. But what people, at least the reading I've done so far, people are saying, yeah, you can do that, but it doesn't look as professional as if you didn't have that Substack thing in there.
But what if you want to keep richcasey.com?
Well, you do. I mean, you own it, right?
Right.
I own richcasey.com. So if I ever pulled out of Substack, or Substack went belly up or something, the only reason why they can use richcasey.com is because I am allowing them to do it. Once my account disappears, I could take that richcasey.com and put it anywhere I want.
Yeah, but I like the idea of having my own website along with a Substack. I think they're two different
Right,
things.
and that's the thing that you can't do unless you have a different domain. Like you could have maybe, for example, I could go out and buy richcasey.co and have that be the Substack one, and then richcasey.com would still be available to build your own website out on the general internet.
Well, I have jerryevanoff.com and jerryevanoffauthor.com, and I would say jerryevanoffauthor.com could go to that.
Well, yeah, okay, yeah, I could do, richcaseyauthor.com. I'm sure that's available.
So, okay, so the way that are you good?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right, the way that I came at it was different. I came at it from how do I not pay the $15 to $30 a month for MailerLite that I'm going to have to pay for? Because I was talking to Ellie, she said you post on there, and it goes out to your subscribers just like a mailing list. And I said, oh, that's interesting. I really like that. And it's free. And there's a free version, obviously. So you don't have to pay for it. You're not paying for the mailing list. My biggest issue was how to get people to my Substack. And in my head, I right now can give away a free novella on BookFunnel. BookFunnel then puts that email address right into my MailerLite. And the MailerLite handles all the subscribing, the unsubscribing, all that good stuff. There's no integration between BookFunnel and Substack.
Not that I know of, but I've
Googled it. There's not.
Okay.
Yeah, you can go to BookFunnel and you can go to the integration section, and it gives you all the ones that are there. And Substack is, and I don't even know if are they planning on it. I have no idea. I didn't look that hard into it.
Now I do know at any time that you can upload emails.
Yes.
To your Substack account. So it would be something you basically would have to do, manually when you felt that you had enough. Yeah.
Especially if someone says, I want to unsubscribe for your Substack, do I have to go unsubscribe from my email list too? Now, I don't like that. That's a gray area for me, is keeping it. So my thought, so I went to ChatGPT Sunday morning and said, whatever it was. No, it was, what's today? I was getting the days. It's Monday morning. I went to, I think, Monday morning. And I said, here's what I want to do. What are my options? And basically what we came up with here, when I say we, being me and ChatGPT, we came up with the idea of in the automation sequence, the last thing you send them could say, if you'd like to continue on Substack, and I wouldn't put on Substack, maybe I would. What I would do is say, on Substack, you get everything a couple days early. You get these Perry Mason things a couple days earlier. And all the history is there, which it's not going to be there in an email. And if you click yes, and it somehow then, I don't know if I can automatically subscribe. I don't know if there's like a link that I can give someone that automatically subscribes them to my Substack, especially since I think they have to go in then and do a second step of filling out what they need to fill out in Substack itself. So I'd have to depend on people doing that. I don't know if I like that idea. If they click no, but I want to stay on your email list, that's cool. But and then I give them an unsubscribe completely list where it just takes them off and unsubscribe them. That's fine, because that keeps my numbers down. I want to keep my MailerLite numbers down.
Right.
So that was kind of what I worked to. And as I think about it more, it still seems too clunky to me, kind of like, jerry rigged together, that I don't think that I could count on it. I wouldn't want to send an email to someone through Substack who unsubscribed from MailerLite but never got unsubscribed from Substack. You know what I mean? Like, right. I don't like that. It's almost what you'd have to do is you'd have to, like, once a week maybe, or before I was going to send something, before I was going to send a Substack post, what I would do is go into Substack, delete the entire subscriber list, go to MailerLite, and import the entire subscriber list of active subscribers. But the problem there is, what about people that joined from Substack from some other place other than my MailerLite? Right. So there's no way for me to have the same kind of subscriber organization on Substack as I do MailerLite. I don't want to get a Substack if I have to, like, get people there some other way. The way that I'm getting people to me, getting their email addresses, is through BookFunnel, these novellas. I don't know what else I could do that would get them there in that kind of same numbers, because BookFunnel gets you numbers. Even if it's freebie seekers, they get you numbers. And you know what I mean? So that was my biggest issue with it right there. I love the idea, but I think it's great that it emails out. It looks nice. You can do basically you're blogging, and the history's there, and it could be free for me. But without the subscriber management stuff that I get from MailerLite, I don't want to do it.
Yeah. And I guess I wasn't thinking, I hadn't thought about that yet, especially the BookFunnel issue. if I ever chose to go down that path where I'm giving away books like that. And I'm at the moment I'm not real sure I'm going to want to do that, but I might. Yeah, that would be a problem unless by that time Substack has an API out that would link the two.
Right. Now, I mean, if that was there, if that existed, I feel like it's a no-brainer to use it. I'm looking at BookFunnel right now. There's a drop-down list of integrations that include about 20 to 25 names here. All your normal ones: Mailchimp, MailerLite, ConvertKit, all the ones we know. Aweber, I've heard of that one. Author.email is on here, which is nice. I set that up before. ActiveCampaign, all the ones, and Patreon. Patreon is on here too. Okay. So maybe they know that Patreon is on here, and I think Substack is similar with the subscription models. So maybe they're working to get Substack on there. I don't know, but right now I don't think I could do it until Substack was in BookFunnel. And I wonder if it's in what's the BookFunnel competitor called? Story Origin, I think it is. I think I have an ID. Let me see. Let me go in. I didn't do this. Let me go in real quick because I think I have a username. Yeah, I do. Oh, send magic login. Send magic login. All right, so come on. Oh, does it send it to my? Oh, it sends it to my jerryevanoff.com, which I have to log into. I'm going to check this while we're on here. So
okay.
I know we're an hour and 25 in. We've babbled for a while, but let me just keep going here. This is actually, for me, if this actually worked, this would be a big deal. And it doesn't look like it made it to my... All right, let's see if I can just log in then. So use password. Oh, I have a password. All right, let's see if I can figure this out really fast on how to do integrations. So for authors, what do we got? Integrations, perfect. So I have MailerLite, so let's add payment platform integration. Let's see what's in there. Okay, there's only one in there called, that must be if you're selling stuff. So email marketing service, let's see. So here's the drop down, and it has it actually has a few less than Story Origin. It does not have Patreon, and it does not have Substack, so it's not here either. So yeah, I couldn't do it until it was something that I could easily manage through one of these sites like BookFunnel and so on.
Yeah. I was trying, as you were talking, to look for a future development list on Substack. Yeah, and I'm not really, they talk about developing an API to allow third-party apps to build on top of Substack, but there's no deadline or anything for that.
I wonder if, and now that you're saying that, I wonder if BookFunnel has a roadmap, and usually you can just type /roadmap at the end of the URL. Let's see if they do it. Nope, they don't do it. Yeah, I don't know where I would find this. I wonder if I can just type the word Substack into there. Let's see. No results. So yeah, I don't know if they're doing it or not. I almost want to email someone there and just ask them what their plans. In fact, I might do that. Just email, like I listen to that BookFunnel podcast. It's great. Maybe I'll email one of those guys and ask them.
Well, I mean, doesn't Substack have to provide an API first for?
Oh, that's a good point. So I wonder if I guess they both have to be part of it. Substack gives them the API, then they probably have to build it into their list.
So if Substack is just wants to wall itself off and just have everything internal, then they're not going to have they're not going to be motivated to create an API link.
But oh man, it would get him a lot of potential subscribers quickly into their system. It feels like it would make sense to me.
Yeah, it does kind of make sense. I'll research that some more before we meet next time and see if I can come up with something.
Then I'm gonna email someone at BookFunnel. I'll find someone.
Okay. I may email somebody at Substack and see.
There you go. We'll see who wins. We'll see who gets an answer first.
Okay.
All right. So that's. I just wanted to talk to you. I'm glad I talked to you about this because your view was completely different than the way that I went in. So that's good.
Yeah, I was not thinking about it at all in terms of how the email thing would work. I was thinking much more in terms of discoverability and developing a community, a place to develop a community. So.
All right. Well, that I believe is going to be it for this week. I don't know if you just heard my neighbor start up his
I
really
did.
loud car. God, it's annoying. He got rid of his Harley and he got the loudest truck he could find. So that's going to be it for the podcast this week. You have anything else?
No.
All right. How many times during the podcast, Rich, did I change my name? I'm curious.
Oh, actually, I wasn't even looking. Pauly Shore.
That's the fourth one.
Is it really?
There were other ones on there. Yeah. So, so if you want to get a hold of us, you can email me, jerry@jerryevanoff.com. If you want to get us into that Substack, BookFunnel, discoverability, everything that we just talked about, please let us know. Get a hold of us. Let us know what your thoughts are. Website, jerry@jerryevanoff.com. I'm sorry, email jerry@jerryevanoff.com. Website, jerryevanoff.com. We're on podcast. We're on YouTube. And we have podcast links. Everything's in the show notes if you want to find it.
Yeah, and whatever you title this episode, make sure you work the word Substack into it, because then maybe somebody will be able to see it and give us some ideas. Yeah.
I actually use ChatGPT to come up with like the title and the description. I've been doing that for a couple of months now.
Oh, okay.
And I'll just tell it, when you give me a title, make sure it has Substack.
Yeah. If you want to email me, my address is rich@richkacy.com, and I can be found on Blue Sky at Kacy himself. And, I did create a Substack account, but now I can't remember what my handle is there. I think it's just Rich Kacy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you have anything posted there?
No. So, yeah, you wouldn't find anything. You'd find my profile, and that'd be it, probably.
Okay. All right, everyone, that's going to be it for this week, and we'll talk to you all in a week. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching.
Yeah, take care, everybody.